Now we are going to discuss some mistakes that we have to avoid in order to develop that professional CV, and what are the styles, format and design we should be using in that professional CV. So first of all, when it comes to development of a CV and the template you have to use, it is totally up to you either what template you wish to use, and until and unless it is professional. Either you can use any template or format available online, or you can use the templates and formats attached to this resource in order to start developing your CV. So now, and by the end of the course, we will be ending the course, you would be actually having a professional CV ready in order to send it to different places. So when it comes to selection of the format, now you have selected your format, then comes that you have to have a very clear name on the top. You should have a professional image depicting your professional self, and alongside that you should have updated contact information. From there you are on that contact information you are available all the time, or your email address, your Skype or Zoom ID, or your latest Facebook or your LinkedIn profile. So some contact details should be present there. And after that, there is the main thing, that is the objective statement, or we call it the elevator pitch or your branding statement. So we would be actually looking up to that how we are supposed to write an effective elevator pitch, and you can use the elevator pitch as well on your LinkedIn profiles as well, on your social media profile as well, and on your CV top as well. That is going to give an impact about yourself to the person. So we'll be discussing that in detail and how we are supposed to use that. The other thing comes in that your CV should be precise and crisp, and all the details given in the CV should be to the point and in relevancy to your job description. So what you have to do, that after that our elevator pitch, we have to go on with our education, and then comes our experiences, our diplomas or online certification if you have any, or then your skill sets and your soft skills, your technical skills, and other languages you can use, or some softwares you can use. So we can add all those details and achievements after this in this order, right? So there comes some points. There are 5 points that we have to focus on when it comes to development of a professional CV or a resume. Number 1 comes in to be that it should be specifics. The words you're going to use should be specific and not general. Okay, so now for example, if you are in a medical field and you're going to apply for a medical job or some relevant job, so you have to use some words that are in relevance with the medical industry, and they are relevant with the language of the HR. So the HR person, when going to read that, he should be in a position to understand that easily, and in a position to know that you actually know that specific industry or the terms of that specific industry. Secondly, you have to use your direct language. Thirdly, you have to make sure your CV is expressive rather than impressive. So you don't have to add a lot of things in your CV, but you have to make it expressive. So if someone comes up and starts screening your CV, they should be in a position to actually understand you in a short period of time and actually screen you out for the next round. The 4th point we have to focus is that your description for each company you're going to apply should be quantified in terms of the job description that you have. So we would be discussing that how we are supposed to read a job description, and then we have to quantify our aspects of our job description in terms of that job description. For example, in job description they say that we need a leadership skills or a team building skills, a person who has a leadership quality, or he is a team player. So here what you would be doing, that in your description you would be using an action verb that is of I had an experience with the team where I had to work with 5 people, and we had an impact of 10% in terms of the financial increase in the revenues of the firm for the overall improvement of the company. So there is a thing that you have actually note down that the word you have worked with a team of a certain amount of people, and you brought a 10% increase in the financial revenue or a certain situation. So this is how we are going to use that. We'll be discussing that in detail as well in the part of when we will be studying our job description. And the 5th part is that when it is precise and crisp and like this, and it is quantified, it should be easily visible, and the person who is going to screen, because if we look at the statistics, most probably they have less than 1 minute or mostly 1 to 3 minutes in order to screen one CV, because when there are certain job positions, especially of multinational organizations, there are hundreds of CVs that they get in a day or 2 days. So you have to make sure that it is easily screenable, so then you would be shortlisted fast as compared to other people. Now there are certain points, there are 4 different points that we should avoid in order to have an impactful CV and a professional CV. The first thing is that we have to avoid some pronouns and the use of word I. Okay, so we will be talking directly in our CV. Secondly, we have to use we have to avoid using of any abbreviations that are irrelevant or they're not professional. Second thing is that we have to use professional language. We have to avoid our normal language that we can use in our normal day-to-day talk, but we have to avoid that on our written CVs, and we have to make sure we are using some formal language. We have to avoid informal language. The third thing is that a lot of people write down their birthdays, complete birth date at the start of the job. It is not actually required there, but in certain jobs you can actually add your age, but it is not necessary to write the complete date of birth unless and until they ask you for that. And second thing we have to avoid is our national identity numbers or our passport numbers. We have to avoid that in this initial process. If they call you and they get you for an interview and they ask for such sorts of information, that is the point where you have to go and give them and share that information with them. And by the end, there are 5 mistakes that usually occur in CVs that we don't intend to do that, but because I have also screened a lot of CVs from different industries, so these are the big 5 mistakes that actually occur when we are screening, or as an interviewer you're sitting and screening an interview, as in a person who is there screening the CVs for the interviews as well. The first one comes in the spelling mistakes or the grammar mistakes, or there are misprints in your CV. So you have to make sure that your CV does not have grammatical mistakes or spelling mistakes or any sort of misprints, so that it is going to give a negative impact to the person who is screening your overall CV, and that shows that you were not that much interested in their firm, or you haven't put that much efforts in terms of development of a CV. The second thing is very, very important and crucial. In a few of the cases that you either give, there are people that actually share their contact information or their email addresses, but they are not currently using that, or that information or that phone number or that SIM is with someone else. So you have to make sure you actually provide that contact information, that you are available throughout the day on those, and regularly check your email and your contact information or the CV on the CV that you have provided, your phone number especially, so that either when someone is there in order to call you, you're prepared and ready for to accept and get that information to yourself. The third thing comes in that you have to there are certain CVs, there are no action verbs in them. When you had as an interview, as a person who is going to interview you, or the person who is going to screen your initial CV, they don't have that much time. So if you have a 1 minute, so if I'm screening a CV, so I should be looking at, for example, I've written in my job description that we need people who have leadership skills, or people who have sales skills, or people who are good in certain use of certain machinery. So when I'm going to see that CV, I would be looking at those specific terms. So when we have shortage of time, it is hard to actually read out each and every single line. So you'll be skimming through the CV, and then we'll be looking, okay, they have a leadership skill, so you've used the word of leadership, you have used the team building skills or a team player, or you have used the certain specific terms of that specific industry, so that it would be easy for the interviewer or the person who's screening your CV to actually take out the information and then screen you out for the next process. And the third comes in is that actually the fourth one is that you have to in certain cases, few of the people actually avoid the chronological order. So what you have to do is that when you're talking about your education, you're writing about your education, you have to make sure you start off by the latest you have, and then you go on to the previous one. Similar comes with the experiences you have or the online certification you have. You have to make sure you always write the piece of information that is actually up to date, and then you go to the older version of the information you have. The fifth one is that in certain situations your description description is not result oriented, rather it is a bit elaborated and is not to the point. For example, you had done a project of an IT firm, or you did a project and you were successful in that. So what you have to do is you have to be to the point. For example, you had to develop an app and you have to execute, and you had to generate some sales or revenue for the company, or you had to get 1,000 registrations. So you don't have to add the details that okay, where there were 5 people and we used to work in a certain scenario, in a certain situation, we had this experience, that so that is all irrelevant details. So you have to talk about specifically to the point about the topic, that we had developed a team with 5 people and we got an impact, and we had 2,000 subscription, 4,000 subscription in this period of time. That's it. So you have to make it to the point, and that is the mistake that you have to avoid. So it would make your CV professional, and it would make it easier for the person who is screening your CV to actually screen you out fast, and then it would increase your chances of getting into the interview. So as a whole, all these points that I have described right now, they are also available in the resources, and there are certain templates of CVs and resumes are also included in this resource. You can download that as well. And if you have any relevant experience or any relevant information that you need to get from us, you can actually share that in our discussion session as well, and we would be discussing thoroughly throughout our course that as a family, that what actually can bring improvement in your life, and how we are supposed to improve our CV in today's COVID-19 suffer market as well.